hard to explain, okay? But
all day, all year round.
it's so mysterious.
This is who we are.
This is who we are. WAVR.
WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's 6 p.m. in Dakar, 7 o'clock in Abuja. Good evening and welcome to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and worldwide at wadr.org. Coming up in the news, Benin's President Talon signs a new constitution into law, extending terms to 7 years. Senegal celebrates First National Diaspora Day as President Diomaye Faye rallies citizens towards economic growth.
Your actions and achievements, your commitment and sacrifice for your country make you an important pillar of our nation's development.
Nigeria's Labour Congress embarks on nationwide demonstration against the rising insecurity.
We want to be living peacefully in our homes and our workplace. Workers are being reduced to nothing in this country because of insecurity. Our people are killed on a daily basis. Construction workers are dying. Farmers are dying. You know, these are the challenges we have.
U.S. imposes a full travel ban on 7 countries, including Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
Here is Augustine Colley with Newslink.
Many thanks for joining our broadcast. Let's begin with the latest report from Benin, where President Patrice Talon has promulgated the new constitutional revision law adopted by the National Assembly on November 14 this year. This followed the Constitutional Council's declaration that the text is constitutional in all its provisions. The High Court stated that it had examined all appeals filed after the parliamentary vote. The promulgation of the new law marks the end of the institutional cycle of the reform and paves the way for the entry into force of new constitutional provisions. Several innovations are included in this new law, and they include, among other things, the creation of a Senate, the extension of the presidential, parliamentary, and mayoral terms from 5 to 7 years, and the establishment of a political truce after each presidential election. Here in Senegal, a serious landslide has devastated the gold mining village of Karakena in the commune of Bembou, situated within the Kédougou region of southeastern Senegal. According to an initial provisional report, 6 people lost their lives in the landslide, while 2 other injured victims were reported. The tragedy occurred around 1 a.m. from Tuesday to Wednesday morning at a gold mining site in the village. According to information provided by the gold miners, the death toll could rise in the coming days. Several people were still reportedly trapped in the pits at the time of the landslide, making rescue operations particularly difficult. At the same time, Senegal is celebrating the National Diaspora Day this Wednesday. The day is being presided over by President Bassirou Diomaye Faye. In his speech, President Faye acknowledged the Senegalese living abroad and expressed his desire to make the Senegalese diaspora a central player in public policy and national development. Held with the theme Senegalese Diaspora, the Bias of Transformation of the Country, the Senegalese head of state also called on the diaspora to play a major role in the implementation of the New Deal technology by sharing knowledge and know-how to make Senegal a melting pot of brains and skills. Here is an excerpt from President Bassirou Diomaye Faye's speech.
C'est une journée symbolique.
This is a symbolic day dedicated to those who, while living beyond our borders, remain deeply rooted in the life, history and future of our nation. Indeed, the Senegalese diaspora, as you know, is not a marginal phenomenon. It constitutes an integral part of the national community, a vital force, an economic pillar, a cultural, scientific and technical player, and a showcase for our sport. You are a dynamic extension of the Senegalese nation throughout the world. Your actions and achievements, your commitment and sacrifice for your country make you an important pillar of our nation's development. Through your financial transfers, investments, and expertise, you are at the heart of the dynamism of key sectors of our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, with our diaspora, the vision is clear. We want to build an inclusive, sustainable, and mutually beneficial partnership by establishing a framework for ongoing and dynamic dialogue, and by choosing the theme, the Senegalese diaspora, a lever for the transformation of the country. I wanted to solemnly reaffirm the strategic importance I place on our compatriots living abroad. Beyond official recognition, this is a commitment to strengthening the ties between the nation and its diaspora.
Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye there speaking. Away from Senegal, the Nigeria Labour Congress carried out a nationwide demonstration today to address the rising insecurity across different regions of the country. Joined by several civil society organizations, demonstrators expressed their concerns about the increase in incidents of kidnappings and other crimes in Nigeria, calling on both state and federal governments to take urgent action and improve the situation. The protests occurred simultaneously in various locations, including Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos, Rivers State, Taraba, and Niger State, among other areas. In Niger State, the peaceful protest was held and led by the NLC's state chairman, Adris Lafeni, along with other labor union leaders and members. The protesters expressed deep concern about rising insecurity within the area. Here is a highlight of the demonstrations today.
We are presenting a letter and the information that is required, solutions to those issues, so that government will look at them critically at their own private time, so that they can address the issue one after the other, to the interest of the people they are controlling. Because one of the purposes of government is to protect life and property. If election is coming very soon now, we need to work around peacefully within the society, so that we can also cast our vote peacefully. And that is why, from the Nigeria Labour Congress, the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress, on that note, we are presenting the points to your government. So this is the letter from the working people of Nigeria that the government should look at them critically and address them. We want to be living peacefully in our homes, in our workplace. Workers are being reduced to nothing in this country because of this security. Our people are killed on a daily basis. Construction workers are dying. Farmers are dying. These are the challenges we have, and they are here with you, that we're here on solidarity, on protest, to show concern. We love him, and we'll continue to support his government. Thank you very much.
A highlight of the Nigeria Labour Congress demonstrations in Nigeria. Meanwhile, the implementation of the 2025 Tax Act in January next year is sparking discussions about public fund management in Nigeria. The new tax reform seeks to expand the tax base, enhance efficiency, and stabilize the economy by increasing non-oil revenue for development. Why officials hail it as a crucial instrument to addressing declining oil revenues and fiscal pressures, questions arise about matching fiscal discipline and accountability. WADR's Abuja correspondent Usma Umar reports.
Ahead of the implementation of the new tax regime, attention is increasingly shifting from revenue collection to its management. Fiscal experts warn that without strict enforcement of spending rules, higher revenue may not translate into real development, citing the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007. Speaking to journalists on the tax reform, Chairman of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, Dr. Muhammad Shehu, alongside the Deputy Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Philip Ikeazo, underscored the importance of the new tax law in stabilizing the economy.
When you enhance fiscal efficiency in terms of efficiently collecting the taxes that are supposed to collect, not to have multiplicity of taxation situation where you are unable to collect those tax systems. You are going to concentrate in making the collection efficiently, and then more money will come into the system.
With increasing emphasis on digital collection, automation, and transparency, the bank's policies that advance financial inclusion, reduce cash dominance, and expand secure electronic payment channels help enlarge tax net and improve the integrity of revenue remittances.
Beyond government cycles, the private sector is also watching closely. Businesses and investors are concerned about possible compliance costs and market impact, particularly for small and medium-sized enterprises. Expressing confidence in the tax system, Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Professor Taiwo Oyedele, allayed these fears.
The major objectives of the reforms are to promote fairness, to drive harmonization and efficiency, enhance transparency for how we use tax monies, and overall to promote economic development.
As Nigeria prepares to roll out the new tax regime, analysts say success will depend on not only on how much revenue is generated, but on transparency, discipline, and accountability in how public funds are managed. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Well, let's take you to Liberia's capital, Monrovia, where several aggrieved protesters on Wednesday joined ongoing Lead or Leave protest organized by the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day stand, led by former chairman of the ex-ruling Coalition for Democratic Change, Moba Malou. The protesters claimed that President Joseph Boakai's campaign promises to rescue Liberia and ease economic hardship have not been realized. They complained that the prices of basic commodities remain high, while access to job opportunities, particularly for young people, continues to be limited. They also accused police of unlawful arrest and tear gas against the protesters while demanding that President Boakai receives their petition. Here is Moba Malou, chairman and organizer of the protest.
This is a continual exercise. We will be peaceful but relentless. Yes, he has to lead or leave. If a respectable person comes from his office, of course. Or a minister of state comes, if he's sent, why not? So that is up to him to decide. We want to see him. We want him to come. We have sufficient turnout. The police has made a blockade. They seized our truck. They prevented our citizens from assembling. They arrested people from across the bridge. People were making their way to protest and were prevented. There was disruption. Every time people at one location to await the bigger crowd, they were disrupted. The truck has been confiscated. Protesters have been arrested and kept beyond bar.
Moba Malou is chairman and organizer of the Leave or Leave protest in Monrovia. Meanwhile, Liberia has launched an AI-supported payment system known as the Instant Inclusive Payment System. The IIPS aims to provide access to digital financial services for all, regardless of their location or socio-economic status. The system would also enable integration across Liberia's 9 commercial banks, real-time gross settlements and automated clearinghouse electronic funds transfer and Pan-African payment and settlement system. WADR's Ibrahim Parker in Monrovia reports.
Tuesday's launch marks a historic movement in Liberia's joining towards a modern and inclusive financial system, as citizens will now be able to transfer money from one network to another. President Joseph Boakai, in his keynote address, emphasized the transformative potential of the IIPS, which aligns with the government's arrest agenda by facilitating instant payments, ensuring transparency in government payments, and improving access to education.
Liberia declares to the world that we are ready to embrace the future of digital finance. Today's launch is a powerful enabler of that vision. Agriculture, the farmers will no longer wait days or weeks for payment. With instant inclusive payment system, they can receive funds instantly.
The governor of the Central Bank of Liberia, Henry Samoa, described the IIPS as a safe, reliable, and inclusive payment system.
It is informed by lessons from across Africa, as captured in the set of the inclusive instant payment systems. Liberia now joins this continental wave not only as an observer, but as a participant and a future contributor.
The rollout of the instant inclusive payment system has generated cautious optimism among Liberians. While many welcome its potential to expand financial access and lower transaction costs, others have expressed concerns about effective implementation and its accessibility for rural populations with a limited internet connectivity. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
You are listening to Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Benin's President Talon signs new constitution into law, extending terms to 7 years. Senegal celebrates First National Diaspora Day as President Diomaye Faye rallies citizens towards economic growth. Nigeria's Labour Congress embarks on nationwide demonstration against rising insecurity. Still ahead in the news, U.S. imposes full travel ban on 7 countries, including Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. We also have guest interview and sports news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Many thanks for being with us. We are streaming live on YouTube at WADR and on Facebook, WADR English Service. The United States government is to impose a full travel ban on 4 West African countries. According to a statement from the White House, President Donald Trump has barred nationals from Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Sierra Leone from entering the U.S. Among a total of 7 nations affected by the recent ban are South Sudan and Laos. Syrian and Palestinian passport holders have also been denied entry to the U.S. Washington says the move aligns with Trump's long-standing push to tighten immigration rules and is aimed at preventing the entry of individuals deemed likely to threaten the Americas. Crossing over to the Central Sahel region, particularly Mali, radio commentator Yusuf Batali, also known as Ratsbath, and social influencer Rokia Doumbia alias Rose Vicheri remain in prison. This was decided on Tuesday by the indictment chamber of the Court of Appeal, which ordered a retrial. Imprisoned since 2023, the 2 personalities are accused of criminal conspiracy and undermining the state's reputation. These are alleged offenses for which they have already been tried. Sankule Janko reports.
The Chamber of Indictment of the Court of Appeal ruled that it had sufficiently examined the charges of criminal conspiracy and undermining the state's credit. Charges related to racism and religious motives initially filed against Yusuf Bachili, also known as Rasbath, and influencer Rokia Doumbia, known by her social media username Rose Vicheri, were entirely dropped. A new trial addressing the same alleged offences is now expected to be held before the criminal chamber of the Court of Appeal, though the date has not yet been announced. Mohamed Ali Bacheli is among the defense lawyers.
From an intrinsic analysis of legal procedures, the position can be understood. A judicial decision rests both on a careful assessment of the facts and on the courage to apply the law. Enforcing the law requires what is known as the principle of loyalty from those charged with its application. Their primary allegiance must be to the law itself. This duty of loyalty lies with magistrates, who are responsible for upholding and embodying it.
It should be recalled that Rasbath publicly declared that former Prime Minister Sumailu Mega was, I quote, assassinated, end of quote. Meanwhile, Rose Vicheri criticized the power outages and rising prices, calling the military transition a failure.
Sankule Janko with that report filed by WADR's Bamako correspondent Aliyu Cham. Still in the Sahel, Niamey, the capital of Niger, is hosting the first edition of the AES Trade Fair. The event being held under the theme, Produce, Process and Consume Locally for Economic Sovereignty in the AES space, began on Tuesday. The fair aims to promote local products from the Alliance of Sahel States comprising Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger. Imo Edit has more in this report.
The first edition of the AES Trade Fair aims to highlight the skills and expertise of Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso while promoting greater commercial cooperation across the Confederation. The event also seeks to strengthen economic connections among local producers from the three silent countries. Serge Pada is a Burkinabe Minister of Industry and Trade.
This is about promoting intra-AES trade, a strategic and sustainable lever for economic sovereignty, wealth and job creation, and for strengthening the resilience of our economies in the face of external shocks.
The AES heads of state hope that the fair will also help cultivate a sense of economic sovereignty among producers within the confederal space, said Musa Alassane Diallo, Mali's Minister of Industry and Trade.
Held under the theme Produce, Process and Consume Locally for Economic Sovereignty in the AES space, the initiative will undoubtedly help strengthen economic and trade relations within the region.
The 5-day Alliance of Sahel States Trade Fair brings together exhibitors from the 3 member countries, as well as participants from other nations, including Senegal, Togo, Chad, and Morocco.
That's a report voiced by Imo Edit. Now let's take you to the Gambia, where President Adama Barrow has received a briefing from the National Human Rights Commission on its 2025 annual report. The document highlights notable improvements in the country's human rights landscape. It also outlines key achievements, including upgrades to the detention cells and prisons, enhanced human rights education to support the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission and other institutions. WADR's Banjul correspondent Sandona Mendy reports.
The report also highlights key concerns, including hate speech by politicians and religious leaders, the implementation of policies for persons with disabilities, female genital mutilation FGM, and support for the government's plan to build a new central prison. President Adama Barrow praised the NHRC for submitting the report and reaffirmed the government's continued support, stressing the importance of prison rehabilitation. The president also highlighted his vision of transforming the Gambia into a middle economy country through social projects funded by the Gambia Local Fund. He urged the NHRC commissioners to remain tolerant and patient but firm in carrying out their human rights mandate. Emmanuel Juve, chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission, emphasized the institution's wide-ranging mandate to promote human rights and its advisory role in shaping government decisions and policies. He welcomed the government's openness to engage and called for stronger institutional backing. Here, the Gambia leader reiterated his commitment to ensuring the NHRC's independence and adequate resourcing, underscoring the government's determination to advance human rights and social cohesion in the Gambia. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I am Sangdona Mendy, reporting from Banjul.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Our guest this evening is Senator Aribu, convener of geopolitics, also an expert in international relations. Aribu speaks about President Donald Trump's latest decision to impose a full travel ban on 7 countries, including 4 from West Africa. Senator Aribu first responds to concerns about the wider impact of Trump's decision on these economies.
The possible several implications, economic, security, diplomatic. So from the issue of economic, it may reduce some form of economic activities or interaction on the side of the U.S., maybe tourism, be business people or people going on holiday or for educational purposes. So it reduces definitely in the tourism sector in the U.S., who have Nigerians that are their clients. We definitely have some form of economic impact. And this is coming at a time. There was this recent report released that shows some level of unemployment in the U.S. are rating a little bit. So just to find a way to try and resolve. So the immediate implication, like I listed, the issue of tourism, education, even head grant for a lot of us to travel to get a better medical or other professional conferences and other issues, so they'll be affected. And those who reside in the US, they may become afraid to venture to, because they don't know what the immigration may say. And these days that they have IC units that are deporting people at every whims and excuses. So everybody will be cautious and on guard. It may impact traveling of diaspora back to US.
Is there any likelihood of other Western countries applying the same sanction, given the fallout between the AES bloc with France?
I don't think there's any other serious sanction they've imposed on them. The travel ban that is also linked to the same reason they gave for Nigeria, issue of insecurity and the Islamic extremism, terrorists, those they call them jihadists or terrorist-linked issues. But before now, they already seen the AES as a foothold of Russian activities, but they are playing the long game when it comes to that, and that's why they are very cautious. And that's why I don't think be it EU or France or EU as a whole may be too frontal in imposing sanctions, because they believe that they are not having problem with those countries, as a people. It's just the regime that are linked with Moscow support. And if they get favorable, maybe regime change tomorrow, change of government, they may fall back to their traditional allies. So I think they are being a bit tactical or cautious in trying to maybe severe. Even if you check that, they also stance ECOWAS have also adopted. So there's a long game that is going on. So apart from this restriction, I don't think there'll be too much major changes.
Nigerian Senator Aribu is also an expert in international relations. Now in the world of sports, we begin with rugby, where former South Africa women's captain Lusanda Domke has died at the age of 29 after a battle with rare gastric cancer. The back row forward earned 33 test caps, captained the Springbok women 3 times, and led the Bulls' Desires to 3 consecutive women's Premier Division titles. South Africa Rugby President Mark Alexandra described her as a symbol of courage, leadership, and resilience. Well, with less than a week to go before the 2025 CAF Africa Cup of Nations kicks off in Morocco, several contenders wrapped up their preparations with friendly matches on Tuesday. South Africa edged Ghana 1-0 in Johannesburg. Sibo Mburu scoring the winner in the second half to boost Bafana's confidence. DR Congo impressed in Mosia, beating Zambia 2-0 with goals from Arthur Maswaku and Rocky Bushiri. In Cairo, hosts Egypt closed the build-up with a 2-1 win over Nigeria. Mustafa Mohamed netting the decisive goal. The matches offered final insights on form and fitness as teams now turn their focus fully to AFCON in Morocco. Away from AFCON-related matters, DR Congo have fired back at Nigeria after a petition to FIFA questioning player eligibility during the CAF World Cup playoffs. In a strongly worded statement, Congolese officials urged Nigeria to win on the pitch, not in the courtroom, insisting World Cup places should be decided by performance, not legal challenges. FIFA is now reviewing the petition as tensions rise ahead of the 2026 qualifiers. And that's it for the world of sports. We've come to the end of this edition of Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening. Many thanks to Ismaila Kamara and Mustafa Sek for the technical support. Do interact with us via our social media platforms, X, Instagram at WADR English, on Facebook, WADR English Service. I am Augustine Cully. Good evening.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kaigama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM, Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views.